Here in this we will just talk about small things regarding the value based things regarding the fluoride. So the very first thing here is how much recommended level of fluoride should be in water, which was proposed by WHO in 1971. You have to be careful that now the recent recommendation is something else. The earlier one was this, just in case you need to know. It's 0.7 to 1.2 ppm optimal recommended level जो WHO के according था. Now this range is here according to the temperature. As I told you, community mean maximum daily temperature. So according to the cold climates, it was 1.2 ppm. We require a bit of a larger concentration of fluoride, whereas in summer season it was 0.7 ppm. So this was what given in 1971. The recent one is this, given in 1994, which is 0.5 to 1 ppm. Again, this is the actual value which is followed till now. 0.5 ppm to 1 ppm is optimum level of fluoride, which will actually show marked decrease in the dental caries. And this is the safe value for fluoride, and exceeding this value could cause problem to the health in the form of fluorosis, which we will talk later on. This is of very little use but still we need to know some few things about the epidemiology. This is basically in concern when you talk about geographical distribution of fluoride content in India. In the regions of you can say the Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, the mid portion of the our Indian map, the Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat and MP, these all have a maximum concentration fluoride level more than 4 ppm. 4 to 8 ppm levels are basically seen in Gujarat, in the region of Kutch. This you have to remember. And MP, only these two districts, I don't know how to pronounce it, but these two districts have 4 to 8, whereas the rest part has more than 4. More than 5, if we talk about just one place, it's there, Andhra Pradesh. That's it. This is of not much use to remember. The actual thing which we should know about is this. Now we talked about water fluoridation, community water fluoridation we talked about in the previous thing, that why it was done and blah blah, and we tried to know the introduction about what it is. Now when this concept of community water fluoridation, it was going on, before the WHO gave its first report, what studies has underwent regarding this work, water fluoridation system, this we have to study. So in our syllabus we come across 5 studies of 5 different places, and accordingly this is important in context of your competitive exams also, and even in university papers. Sometimes the short questions regarding the studies, you can come across these questions. So I have tried to make it look more concise to you in a very good manner. I hope it's clear to you all. So let's begin with the first study. The first study is named as Grand Rapid Muskegon Study. These basically are the two places. ये 2 places के नाम हैं. Accordingly, I have given here the main points of year of establishment, when in which year this study took places. Then what was the test place? Test place माने मतलब जिसमें हमने actually में fluoride content add करे, and we saw the result. This is kind of an experiment. Plus एक control place थी जिसको हमने as a control to check whether our experiment is successful or not accordingly. So let's begin with here, Grand Rapids Muskegon study. This year of establishment is January 25, 1945. Test place is Grand Rapids. Test place is Grand Rapids. So basically all that fluoride content in the form of sodium fluorides was added in the Grand Rapids water supply. Grand Rapids water supply. And in which it was not added was control place. It was the Muskegon. This is the control place. Now this was a very historic occasion because this is the first time permissible quantity of एक फ्लोराइड का हमने पानी में डाला था on a geographical level. मतलब एक स्टडी के तौर पे this was the first study which took place. As you can see, what were the conclusions? Now I hope it's clear to you. This is the year in which it is established. One was a test place, one was a control place. Test place में हमने sample डाला, उसकी इस जगह के water supply में we added the sample. Then after 6.5 years we noted what was the conclusion in the dentition of the children of both the areas. We compared. So this person Arnaud et al. In 1953 he gave the conclusion, and the conclusion was such that after 6.5 years of this experiment, जो केरीज एक्सपीरियंस हमने 6 साल के बच्चे में देखा पाया in Grand Rapids city was basically half than that of 6 year of Muskegon. I hope it's clear. That means this study proved that adding fluoride to the community water supply actually benefited the patient, actually benefited the people living in that area. And we saw there was marked reduction in caries. So this was the conclusion, that the after 6.5 years of experiment, caries experience of 6-year-old in Grand Rapids was actually almost half than that of the Muskegon. So this was the Grand Rapids Muskegon study. Another study to prove this, again, Newburgh Kingston study. Year of establishment is May 2nd, 1954. Again, test place was Newburgh. The Hudson River, which is found in Newburgh. I'm not very familiar with the places where they lies. So you can check personally and browse it on the Google. But again, sodium fluoride was added in the drinking water of the Newburgh Hudson River, and control place was the Kingston. Don't confuse this arrow here. This is related to the next study. So the control place was Kingston. You can remember by heart, whenever you are going through a study, the first thing which comes, the first place was actually a test place, and the another was the control place. So the study is Newburgh Kingston study. Newburgh is a test place and Kingston is a control place. Again, I have told you sodium fluoride was added in test place. What was the conclusion again? Here, this person, Asterol, 1956 में, he gave the conclusion that after 10 years, the fluoridation, DMF rate decayed, missing, filled. We're not concerned with these two, but decayed. The decayed rate had fallen from 23.5% to 13.9%. So there was again marked reduction in caries. That means adding fluorine in the drinking water has actually shown marked decrease in the caries. So this study was all about it. Next again is Brantford. Now this is a bit tricky. There are 3 places. Remember, Brantford, Sarnia and Stratford. You have to remember by heart. Nothing can be done about it. Brantford, Sarnia and Stratford. But me speaking it repeatedly, बार बोलने से maybe it's easy for you to learn. So I'm trying my level best to make things easier for you. Brantford, Sarnia, Stratford fluoridation caries study. This took place in June 1945, and sorry, here the test place. Now the first thing comes Brantford in Ontario in Canada. This was the test place. Sarnia and Stratford, two places are there. They both were control places. Now what is trick here? There's a bit of a trickiness is there, that Sarnia is actually a control place, but Stratford, the another city, was an auxiliary control place. That means, now the arrow is marked here, I've marked here, that fluoride was naturally present in the drinking water in this city, Stratford. Brantford and Sarnia were devoid, मतलब उसमें नहीं था. They were devoid of fluoride, whereas Stratford, fluoride was naturally present in there. So this city acted as an auxiliary control, and Sarnia, as usual, was control, in which there was no fluoride. Test place was Brantford. We added sodium fluoride in this place. Okay. Now, what was the conclusion? Now this person, Hutton et al., in 1951, he gives the conclusion. He reported the conclusion. Now here, after 17 years of fluoridation, now two things are to be remembered here. First is, in Brantford, the test place, Carey's experience was similar to that occurring in Stratford. That means कि स्ट्रैटफर्ड जहाँ पे ऑलरेडी फ्लोराइड प्रेजेंट था, वहाँ तो ऑलरेडी कम होंगी केरीज के चांसेस, द प्रेवलेंस, द इंसिडेंस ऑफ केरीज वुड बी लेस. तो ब्रैंडफोर्ड एरिया के भी केरीज एक्सपीरियंस वाज सिमिलर टू द स्ट्रैटफर्ड. whereas in Sarnia, which was the control town था, तो इसमें this was devoid of fluoride. So when we compared Sarnia and Brantford showed 55% less of the Carey's experience than Sarnia, which was the control town. I hope it's clear. The study showed that, again, the water supply which carry fluoride, that place has showed a marked decrease in Carey's reduction. There has been marked Carey's reduction in people. So this study was whole about this. This is a bit tricky because there are 3 places. So this gave a more pronounced conclusion and more good proof about that fluoride is good anti-carriogenic, carry a good anti-carriogenic properties. I hope it's clear. Without wasting any time, I'm going to the next case. Evanston Oak Park study. Now this year of establishment is 1946. Here the test place is Evanston, Illinois, US, and the Oak Park was control place again. There's nothing to cram here. As I told, the first place was the test place, and the second place was the control place. Let's directly jump to the conclusion. Here, after 14 years of fluoridation, the place, Evanston, which was the test place, it showed 49% reduction in DMF value. Again, the decayed, missing and filled value. I have made 2 hearts here and I've written this. This study, the Evanston Oak Park study, this study presented the most detailed data of all the fluoridated study. This you have to remember. It's a catchy line. It could come in your competitive exams. That among all the studies, sometimes these questions come which are very least expected.